friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about a bunch of mostly eye products that I am decluttering out of my collection. I typically will lump these into my trash talks, but I figured since I wanted to do more of like a chatty talk through about why and how I decluttered these things, I thought I would make it its own video. I'm not someone who typically like sits down and wants to declutter. It sort of just happens organically. So let's go ahead and talk about what prompted all of this. So I have been trying to, as you guys know, in my Pan That Palette Challenge, use up other cream eyeshadows that I have in my collection. And as I go through palettes and go through the cream shades in those palettes, I also do like a quick assessment of, well, what do I want to keep, what's left in here. Normally, I do find that I want to keep what's left in there, but I always hate the fact that I then have this wasted packaging that's carrying, you know, maybe one or two shades when I could kind of condense them. So when I picked up the ColourPop foundation, I also snagged this metallic palette, empty palette in here, and I figured I would start to go through and pop out the eyeshadows that I wanted to keep. And then naturally, as I was doing that, I also was sort of making decisions about eyeshadows that I really just don't use, or I have 15 versions of it and I don't need to have 15 of the same shade. So I went through and I cleaned it out and then put the shadows that I wanted to in here, or decided to just get rid of it altogether. So let's go ahead and talk about those items. I want to say almost 6 years ago at this point, I won an entire NYX collection. Like, it was every product NYX had ever made that they had sent to me, which was so gracious and wonderful. But a lot of products I just haven't ended up using, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of them. And one of those is the NYX Baked Shadow. I'm not even sure they still make these. They come in really bulking packaging, and I had wanted to be able to depot these, but really there's just no way. And so for me, the shades I'm getting rid of are just shades that I don't wear. So the first one is Bittersweet, Ghetto Gold, Nebula, shout out to Gardens of the Galaxy, Lavish, Ambrosia, Chance. Another single that I'm getting rid of is from Urban Decay. It is so heartbreaking because I love this shade, but I also hate this shade. It is the shade Midnight Cowboy. I had gotten it, I'm pretty sure, for an Ulta birthday gift. The color of this, when you swatch it, is magical. But if you get really close, do you see those specks of silver glitter? Oh yeah, those are not my friend. They end up falling underneath my eye. I do not know what it is about me. I feel like nobody else seems to have this issue, but I do. And then I can't wipe it away. It's like I'm so translucent that glitter like clings to my face and then I can't cover it up or hide it. And I'm not someone who puts on my eyeshadow wet. I only do it dry. So this is just not worth it. I'm parting with it even though it's so beautiful. Like, it looks so beautiful. It's just so frustrating because it's like I love it so much and then it just does me wrong every time I wear it. Okay, on to some drugstore like trios and quads that I just don't like and haven't worn and I'm not going to wear. The first we have is from Almay. They no longer make the trios like this, and the ones that they now have that are reformulated are garbage. But this is the Smoky Eye for browns. So meaning like if you had brown eyes, this was meant for you. I had gotten this couponing, so none of these are like a real sadness to miss out on. I also have this Bohemian Rhapsody Stay Wild from Wet n Wild trio. Like, what was I thinking? These all have sparkly like glitter in it, which is not my jam. So I've never really worn it and I'm not going to wear it, so it's gotta go. I also have a few from Ipsy bags that I am officially getting rid of. I've got one from Pop, which is Bright Up Your Life. I like these shadows, I really do, and I thought about popping them out, but I couldn't really get them out, and then I figured, like, you know what, I've got a bunch of these. This is not a unique or difficult to find shade in my collection, so time to let it go. And then the Sugar Plum Bright Up Your Life trio is also going. I just don't wear these kinds of colors, so they gotta go. And I have the NYX Love in Rio. I also like these shades, but I have so many like this. And this is like a really chunky glitter, so I wouldn't really wear it. So too bulky, can't have it, too many colors. I have two palettes that I am decluttering from e.l.f. The first is the Mad for Matte. I used the cream in here during last year's Pan That palette, and I toyed around with the idea of using these colors as I like need them, but I don't need them. I have a bunch of them, and I just don't feel like I'm someone who wears enough matte eyeshadow looks to warrant keeping this, so it's going. And then one that normally always sneaks through whenever I declutter, it's the e.l.f. Prism eyeshadow in Smoke. Oh god, I want to like this, but every time I've worn this, I don't like it, and then I never reach for it, so it's finally time to part with it. Alright, and then now we'll talk about the eyeshadow palettes that I have pulled some shadows out of, and then the rest I'm just decluttering from it. The first is from the Balm. It's the Meet Matte. Much like the e.l.f. Mad for Mattes palette, I really never pull for this, and the times that I have, I really haven't liked the eye looks. So the two that I kept in here was Matte Smith and Matte Gallagher, which I'll show you what those look like in a second, but this is the palette I really wanted and just never ended up using. So those are the two shades out of the palette that I definitely can get a lot of use out of. Everything else had to leave. Next up, I feel like you guys might be surprised to see this one if you followed my 2017 Pan That Palette Challenge, but it's the Studio Makeup On The Go eyeshadow palette. This I had gotten in a BoxyCharm, and as you can see, I panned a shadow out of here, but when it comes down to it, I really don't need the rest of the colors in here. It's super neutral, and I have like my Urban Decay Naked 2, which has a lot of these same shades, and I would rather get that palette used up than this one. I wanted to keep this golden shade in here, but I couldn't get it out of the palette, so I'm just gonna go ahead and let the whole thing go. I also went through my Wet n Wild thrift store chic. This palette, as you can see, I tried to depot this one and this one because the other ones in here are just all glittery. I would open this up and it would go everywhere, and the shadows broke as I was trying to depot them. So this is just being sacrificed altogether. I have found that I'm really not a big fan of many of the Wet n Wild shadows, which is disappointing. Same thing with this Wet n Wild. This is the limited edition Stop Ruffling My Feathers that recently came out, I think, with their spring collection. I had gotten this for free with coupons, and there was only one shadow in here that I liked. The other shadows I just didn't really find were doing it for me, so I'm decluttering all of these, and then the one that I kept is beautiful. It's like a metallic-y rose gold. Oh, look at that shade. I cannot wait to play with that all over my lid. The other one that I am decluttering, I'm decluttering two shades out of, is my absolute favorite Almay Shimmery Eye Kit. It's meant for really all eyes. I wore the stank out of this for a really long time, but I have since found upon like doing more playing with other shadows that these two are really patchy and not that pigmented, but the lid color in here, which is the biggest pan in here, is gorgeous. I've hit pan on it, so I moved it. It is this puppy right here. I love this color. It's almost like a lighter version of the Wet n Wild that I kept. I really like a rose gold eye. I just think it looks good. I'm a big fan of it, so that's working for me. Then the last one in here that wasn't a single eyeshadow that I ended up putting in the ColourPop palette was this e.l.f. Trio. I have no idea where this thing came from, but the two colors in here that I'm decluttering, I just really don't think they're anything super special or unique, so they're out of here. But the one that I kept almost didn't survive. This is like a taupey lid color that I could use. While we're here, I'll just show you the rest of the ones that were like single shadows that I popped into here. I have this Laura Mercier purple shadow that I absolutely adore. I have the three shadows from the NYC little quad that I was working with. I have this Sephora single shadow. I have this Makeup Academy sample shadow that I got in a Sephora play. And then these three are Urban Decay single shadows that I got. So I'm a little nervous about having this palette because on the one hand, this is not like a unified, I could just pull this out and do an eye look with it, so I don't know how frequently I'll come to it, but at the same time, I just saved a bunch of space in my makeup collection by even just keeping these in here, not including the things that I decluttered that I didn't keep any shadows out of. So we'll see how it goes. I may even be tempted to make this like a pan that palette challenge where I focus on using these shades up. I don't know, my mind, it's working, the ideas are churning, but I'm at least happy with this ColourPop palette that I bought. To finish this up, I'm just going to show you guys some of the other things that I have decluttered along the way. I have one brush. This is the Morphe M510. I just find that it's not as soft as the other brushes that I have that are shaped like this, so this is going. I have this atrocious Maybelline Real Impact Great Lash. This did nothing for my lashes. It didn't do anything for them, so it's gonna go. I have the e.l.f. Cool Steel Liquid Eyeshadow. I never wear my lids this dark, so I really don't have a use for this color, so it's out of here. I have the Nuance Salma Hayek. This is like a 3-in-1 eye trio. You have like a highlighter or like a eyeshadow base. You've got a pencil at the other end, and then you have like a liquid shadow. I never use this, and this thing is super old, so I'm pitching it. And then I have some lip products that I just don't like the look of on my lips. The first is this e.l.f. Pouty Petal. I have the CoverGirl Yummy Pink. The PBJ Smoothie Stick. I don't know if this is just like the one shade they carry, but too dark for me. And lastly, despite its super sleek packaging, the Doche, I think that's how you pronounce it, shade 802. Just don't like on my lips. So it's out of here. Alright guys, that was a lot of decluttering. I hope you enjoyed seeing a declutter in this format. Like I said, I normally put them into my trash talks, but this one felt like a bigger one, deserved its own spotlight video. But I appreciate you guys spending some of your day with me, and I'll talk to you in my next video real soon. Bye.